be the process with Trubisky now that he's back?
I'm going to see how he looks today. Hopefully he can go these 3 days, show us that he's healthy and can play at a high level, and hopefully he'll get some time in the game.
Is he a possibility, with week one being this close to play against the Lions?
I haven't seen him out there yet, so I know we're hoping so. We're giving him a chance to do it. He feels good right now, which is very encouraging. I think he started feeling a lot better while we were down in L.A., so I'm just pumped he wants to practice today, feels healthy enough to practice today, and we'll evaluate these 3 practices and decide for Sunday and then decide on our 53.
Is the expectation still for Trent Williams to practice this week, or is that?
Yeah, Trent's good to go. Yeah, he'll be at practice all week.
Is Nick Bosa good to go? Practice?
Yep, Nick's good to go. He's going to get some team reps today.
What do you want to see out of Nick? Just how he responds?
I think it's more mental to me with that. I mean, he looks great on the side. He looks doing all the football movements. I'm an individual and stuff, and to me, it's more of his mind, which all guys need coming off a serious injury like that. Nick's ready for football. He just needs to go through some reps and ease back in there, and hope feels good about it at the end of the day.
What about D Ford? Anything additional that he's going to ramp up to do this week?
No, D Ford's been good. He's been on a steady pace. I think he's gotten enough reps in this camp. We'll keep continuing with the same pace for these 3 days, and I'll decide on Sunday at the end of the week for him and pretty much all the players. But we're good with the pace he's been on.
Kyle, what have you liked out of Jimmy Garoppolo the past month? What have you seen?
I think he's just had more command at this time than he has any of the other years. Jimmy always gets there eventually, but I think he's come in, and I think that's natural with it being his 4th or 5th year. He came in the middle of our first year, but I think it's a lot easier for him just knowing what's coming off my lips before it does, knowing exactly how to spit it out, where to go. It just, when you don't have to think and all that stuff's effortless, the semantics of play calls and the offense, I think it's a lot easier to play.
Is there anything you can learn from 2012 with Robert Griffin and apply it to now, just given it's a rookie quarterback and also a running quarterback?
You learn a lot when you get to experience different types of schemes and stuff. So everything I learned doing those 2 years, I think has helped me everywhere I've gone. Whether with running quarterbacks or with not, you start to understand defenses the more you can use 11 guys. I learned a ton that year schematically because that was my first time being around it or doing something like that, and that stuff helped me throughout my whole career.
From a competitive advantage standpoint, what do you gain by not naming a starting quarterback at this time?
I look at more as what do you gain by naming it. There would be one reason I can think of by naming it that would help, and it'd be to end those questions. If you could give me another reason that's a big advantage that helps our team, affects anything that has to do with us, then I will name it. But I don't think it does. And, why tell people? I know you guys want an answer and stuff, which is fine. I get the suspense of it, but I'm not just going to answer it to end your guys' suspense. So. Oh, you're welcome. Hey, I'll try to get you more clicks.
I know it's a totally different situation. Going back to 2017, what did you see from Jimmy to know that he was ready? You said you have to see something from Trey. What did you see from Jimmy then to know that he was ready to start?
No, that he was the best quarterback in our building. So I saw it pretty fast and pretty early.
A few weeks ago, you said that Trey would play situationally. Has anything, or what, if anything, that he's done during camp has suggested that? What situationally might he be best at in that regard?
Depends who we're playing, what the situation is, what fronts. I don't know when that's going to happen. Could happen today, could happen week 1, could happen not till the end of the year. But I think you have a guy who has a skill set to come in and do some different things, and that's what we've been working him at, and we'll do that when we think it helps us.
Are there challenges with doing that, just in terms of getting both guys in it and the work? Shuttling guys in and out, what are the challenges with that?
Yeah, I would think so. That's what, I do it a little bit in practice. I think I'm doing a little bit more of it here these next 2 weeks, just for me to get used to it and stuff, for the guys to get used to it. Watching New Orleans doing it with Drew and Taysom has been pretty cool over the last 3 years. I'm sure that took them some time to kind of get the flow of that, but it's nothing that you can say, hey, we did this in practice, so this is how it's going to be. You adjusted that in games, and you prepare for everything, but you don't know until you go through it. So that's why I don't sit here and pretend like I have all the answers, because I don't. You prepare for every situation, you work the guys to the best of their ability, and then you see what your game plan is, and you figure out what gives you the best chance to win that game, and you try to keep your thoughts just to that.
Is sprinkling him in more part of an original plan that you've had all along, or is it more because he's maybe further along than you expected at this point?
No, I mean, I knew that when you do get a quarterback who does have a different skill set than your starter, regardless of whether they're ready to do a whole game or not or anything like that. I know watching other teams, having some experience myself, I know that can really affect people. I mean, you got to prepare for that stuff a lot. Other defenses, you can't just go out and play against something that you haven't been preparing against. So whether guys are doing it or not, it always helps that people are preparing to have that threat. And if it's effective and we think it helps us, then you do it more and more.
Kyle, you obviously spent some time in the Bay Area growing up. What was your recollection of the Raiders-49ers rivalry when you were in school?
I mean, when I was here, they were in L.A., so it was a little bit different. And my dad was actually the head coach of the L.A. Raiders for about 3 days, it felt like. But, I mean, I always knew. I mean, I've always known there's a big rivalry there, especially when they came back to Oakland and stuff. And I mean, I love you can tell just being around here with the fans and stuff. I think it's a little different now that they moved and stuff, but I know it's a little more exciting for a preseason game when you get a team to come back that does have a tradition like that. And anything that can add more excitement to preseason games, I'm all for.
This is the dress rehearsal. I mean, having that a little extra juice helpful along those lines.
I mean, I think it is. I think it's for the fans and stuff, and maybe people who watch it on TV. I don't think it affects us very much.
Did you ever meet Al Davis?
Yes, but I was a third grader, so I kept to myself on it. I didn't know everything that was going on, so I was just a fan around that time.
Are you in full regular season mode this week? I mean, are these practices like regular season practices?
No, I mean, the schedule is. That's my biggest thing. You want to dress rehearsal at the times. That's why we had a walkthrough. That's why we're doing the media now, and we'll have lunch. We'll go back out and do our normal practice. So everything, the meetings and everything are the same, but still the most important thing is how to get your individuals and your team completely ready for week one. So, yes, you try to spend a whole normal week so they know where they are in week one, but our main concern is just getting us as good as we can be, not just Oakland.
No, you won't tell us who, but have you decided on a week one start?
I got a pretty good idea, but as you guys can see with everything, I don't know our schedule a couple days from now. So I've always had a pretty good idea. But there's lots of days between now and then at every position.
You may not even be alive.
I mean, I won't say it, but that is a fact. That is a fact.
Take some more guys.
You mentioned in the post-draft press conference that you kind of enjoyed watching everybody squirm over the decision between at the time people thought Mac Jones or Trey Lance. Are you enjoying squirm right now?
Not really. I'm not watching it too much. I mean, then it was kind of more. I don't know if I might have used the word enjoyed, but I was more kind of amazed. All the strong opinions and everyone thinking they knew everything, and when I knew that no one did. So that was just kind of interesting to watch. I wouldn't say I was having fun watching it, but it was interesting. This situation, I mean, I feel like I've talked pretty consistent through this whole time, and I get everyone wants to keep talking about stuff, and I would love to help you guys and answer you guys, but I think you guys all got a pretty good idea, and I think our team does also.
Much about making that decision, or did you keep it to yourself?
I talked to John about everything. John's not coming down and he's the same as me. He's not sitting there asking what day it is or anything like that. We're pretty good about that. If we know where we're at and we know where we're going.
Anything else? Real quick, one question was, you've talked a lot about wanting to hold off on naming Lance a starter, for example, until I feel like he gives you the best chance of winning. What is it you need to see from him to maybe feel that way?
I mean, I could talk for 6 days on that. I mean, it's about a quarterback giving us the best chance to win. And you don't just throw guys out just because of a skill set. You throw guys out because of how they work in your offense, how they work for your team, how the other plays tie to them, and what they're ready to do. We do have a quarterback with a lot of experience who's played at a high level. And we got a team, I think, that's got some pretty good experience that has the capability of playing at a high level. So you're trying to figure out how our 47 guys now on game day can play at the highest level possible, and whether they're starting or whether they're coming in, and there's so much that goes into it. That's why you will never get a straight answer from me. Good? All right, guys, thanks.